It was drizzling outside. The atmosphere at the concert was unprecedentedly high. Evan Murray stood under the spotlight, his warm voice lingering in the night sky. In the audience seats, Blair was excitedly screaming, "Kira, why didn't you tell us about such a talented high school classmate?" Ding! Wisnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. I held the brand new ticket in my hand, silent. We were supposed to sit in the regular seats, but suddenly we were escorted to the VIP area by the staff. This was the closest place to the concert stage. Throughout the concert, I inevitably met Evan Murray's eyes, tender, yet cold. Over the years, I had been secretly keeping an eye on him, watching him go from obscurity to the center of attention, like a rebirth. If it weren't for the tickets my boss took and asked me and Blair to bring her daughter to the concert, I would never have appeared in the audience seats, let alone be inexplicably moved to the front row seats. Lost in thought, the concert was coming to an end. Evan Murray sat down on a high stool, holding the microphone in front of him. In the drizzling rain, his magnetic voice spread throughout the venue. "Long time no see." The overwhelming cheers swept over like a tidal wave. Evan Murray casually crossed his long legs and spoke lazily. "Actually, for tonight's interactive session, I've prepared a little game. There's a question on your ticket. You need to write the answer to enter. I believe you've all finished writing." The fans enthusiastically shouted, "Yes, finished." Evan's gaze finally fell on me. "So, I will pick a lucky audience member to show their answer. Is that okay with everyone?" The atmosphere was lively. My heart suddenly tightened. A sudden sixth sense made me quickly grip the ticket, trying to put it in my pocket. In the next moment, the glaring spotlight, along with the camera, locked onto me. My face appeared on the big screen. The fine rain wet my hair. My flustered and embarrassed appearance was displayed in front of thousands of people. Evan laughed. "Looks like you are the lucky audience member tonight." The topic for tonight popped up on the big screen. During your student days, was there someone you couldn't forget? Laughter and gossip surrounded me, because tonight's rule was for Evan Murray and the fans to answer the same question. After many years, memories from the past resurfaced. The love letter I once tore up became the shadow that loomed between us tonight, leaving me at a loss. Evan's voice was lazy. "I'm actually curious about your answer." A staff member came over with a smile and took my ticket. The camera zoomed in. A few seconds later, the crumpled yes was mercilessly displayed on the big screen. At that moment, I felt Evan's gaze piercing through me. Evan Murray sat under the flashlights, his eyebrows hidden in the shadows. He tilted his head, his tone calm. "Can you tell us his story?" I pursed my lips. Not convenient. In that chaotic and hurried youth, the unrequited love that I had put an end to by my own hands appeared countless times in my later dreams, turning into a lingering pain in my heart. "Is that so?" Evan Murray smiled. The camera cut back to his flawless face. Evan raised the microphone, his expression cool. "I have one too. And tonight, she's here." Just as the crowd began to stir, Evan gently said, "But I hope that in my lifetime, she never appears in front of me again. Then we can have our own life and live happily." With that, the audience seats erupted. "Wow, I really want to know where this woman is sitting." Blair looked indignant. "Kira, how dare she show up? Is she trying to rekindle the past because she sees him famous now? Does she deserve him?" I tugged at the corner of my lips. Probably not. My glamorous life came to an abrupt end in that summer vacation years ago. After the concert, the city was hit by a heavy rainstorm. Taxis surrounded the entrance of the sports center, making it impossible to get through. Blair slipped in front of the venue and got injured quite badly, so her boyfriend took her to the hospital. I was alone with the child, trying to hail a taxi in front of the gym. Half an hour passed, and I was still in line. The words of the fans next to me drifted into my ears at this moment. I heard that woman seduced Evan Murray before the college entrance exam to compete for the guaranteed admission quota, disturbing his studies. Later, after she got the guaranteed admission to university, she dumped Evan Murray. "Ah, how do you know all this so clearly?" "Well, Lone Scrane said it in an interview." Lone Scrane. After many years, hearing this name again still sent chills down my spine. It seemed like God was playing a joke on me. Because of Lone Scrane's malicious report, I dropped out of school. I didn't make it to college. I also lost the boy I liked. While Lone Scrane, who pushed me into the abyss, became the female lead in Evan's MV, gaining popularity all over the country. I took a deep breath, picked up the child, and walked towards the less crowded back door of the sports center venue under the rain shelter. The noise gradually faded away. There were no lights around, pitch black. I gathered my courage and walked a bit faster. In the chaos, there was a muffled bang. I bumped into someone. Just as I was about to fall, the person caught me around the waist. The overly intimate distance allowed me to catch a faint but distinctive scent. Not like perfume, but the smell was somewhat special. "Sorry," I apologized instinctively. As the words fell, the glaring headlights suddenly lit up. I squinted, adjusted to the light, and finally saw the face in front of me. So perfect, arrogant, and indifferent. It was the big star, Evan Murray. Behind him stood many staff members, carrying large and small packages. "Sorry, Evan does not sign autographs or interact during his private time. Please leave immediately." The speaker was a bit stern. Several security guards rushed over, trying to stand between me and Evan Murray. I realized I was was being treated as a sightseeing fan, feeling embarrassed. Sorry, I am. Evan's expression was indifferent. Long time no see. The people around quieted down, all looking at me with strange eyes. They probably all guessed that I was the person Evan mentioned on stage. I held the child tightly and whispered, sorry to disturb. You won't get a taxi at the back door either. Evan reminded me coldly. Either continue getting soaked in the rain, or come with me. I couldn't let the child continue standing in the rain with me, so I got into Evan's car. The rain pattered on the roof of the car. I felt cold and quietly said, thank you. How old is the child? 3 years old, just started kindergarten. The atmosphere inside the car grew colder. I looked outside at the crowd cheering with excitement and couldn't help but be distracted. It turned out we were really different now. The boy I used to secretly admire and who would hide in the corner now had so many people liking him. Lost in my thoughts, a sudden phone call interrupted. Evan's gaze instantly fell on my phone screen. I pursed my lips, hesitating. Why aren't you answering? The child's fidgety fingers accidentally pressed the speakerphone button. Will you be home tonight? I made some wontons for you. A man's voice filled the car. It was my blind date, Tanner Hill. Even though I had already rejected him, he still couldn't contain his eagerness. I stood frozen in place. As I was about to turn off the phone, I accidentally knocked over a bag. An old keychain fell out. On it was a photo of Evan Murray from high school. Evan slightly lowered his eyes, his gaze fixed on that old photo, emitting a faintly meaningful smile. Revealing such a hidden thought in front of the protagonist was somewhat embarrassing. I tried to cover it up, but only ended up in more chaos. While picking things up, I accidentally bumped the window button. The window opened slightly. The screams of enthusiastic fans instantly crowded into the car. Just as I was about to turn my head, everything in front of me turned fuzzy. There's a woman in the car. Quick, take a picture. A hand suddenly covered my eyes. Evan leaned in from behind, his voice near my ear. You haven't changed a bit. Even though you're married, you still keep my photo hidden. Are you still so obsessed with me? I was taken aback. I'm not. What do you want? Are you deliberately trying to tell me you still can't forget about me? Evan didn't even listen to my explanation. Are you deliberately letting my fans see you in my car to stir up rumors? Fine. Evan lifted my chin, forcing me to look up. His tone was icy. Be good. Let my fans have a look at you. Smile prettily. You need to look good on camera. The thought of my entire face possibly being exposed under the spotlight made me shiver. I heard the sound of the window opening completely. The cold, wet rain hit my face. When Evan removed his hand, I was so scared that my breath stopped. My mind went blank. Before me was an empty field. No fans, no cameras. The car had just entered the ring road. Evan retracted his hand, leaned back in his seat, and closed his eyes. The phone fell to the floor. Tanner Hill's call had already ended. After a while, Evan stiffly said, get off when we reach the destination. You remarried, so don't come and seduce me again. That night, I almost fled from the car in a sorry state. Watching the car disappear into the distance, I dismissed the idea of explaining to him. We were already people from two different worlds. To Evan Murray, I was just an ordinary high school classmate. There was no need to delude myself. A few days later, news of Evan having a girlfriend suddenly hit the hot search rankings. Photos of him covering my face were widely circulated online. Many people said it was Lone Scrane. Evan Murray dating, so what? Only my best friend called me first. Is that you? Yeah. She was silent for a moment and said, Kira, are you really not afraid of Lone Scrane coming back to haunt you? She will ruin you. I am afraid, but unless something unexpected happens, I won't see him again in this lifetime. But sometimes things happen so coincidentally. Not long after, my boss suddenly assigned me a task to invite Evan Murray to publish his biography. Now the whole internet is saying Lone Scrane and Evan Murray are a couple. Blair said you were high school classmates with him, so you should be able to dig up a lot of information. If you complete this task, I'll give you double the year-end bonus. I thought for a moment and agreed. I didn't want to be a gossip reporter for the rest of my life. I needed money for school. In early winter, I landed in S City by plane because Evan Murray was going to hold a concert at here. In the late afternoon, I completed the check-in procedures at the hotel where Evan was staying. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I suddenly heard a commotion at the door. Evan Murray walked through the crowd with people calling out to him. He still looked dazzling. Over the years, he had established his own company and become a real capital figure. There was a familiar face beside him. It was Lone Scrane. Reporters swarmed around. Lone Scrane, what's your plan for accompanying Evan Murray this time? Lone Scrane blushed. Of course, I'm here to accompany my boss for the concert. This playful response won a round of cheers. Evan looked indifferent, playing with his phone with his head down. Lone suddenly saw me in the crowd. Her smile paused slightly, and she then linked arms with Evan. Tonight is a private event, cancel all interviews, and I hope everyone won't disturb us. The last sentence was directed at me. It had a somewhat domineering feeling. She clearly knew that despite all the connections my company had, I could only book one night at the hotel where Evan was staying. After tonight, I would never have contact with Evan again. Evan pushed away her touch, turned, and walked towards the elevator. As Lone passed by by me, she smiled and said to the lobby manager, "Please don't let the paparazzi in. We really hate them." With Lone's words, Evan's floor was surrounded by security guards, making it impossible to get through. I had no choice but to wait in the elevator. Lone posted a lot of scenic photos on her Twitter. Many fans were waiting below, hoping for her sweet update. Many speculated that Evan accompanied her to see the river view. I waited from day to night. Just when I thought he wouldn't come back, the elevator suddenly opened. Evan stood at the door. In the moment our eyes met, a faint smell of alcohol drifted over. He didn't speak, silently walked in, leaned against the wall not far from me, his features clearly outlined under the top light. The elevator started to ascend slowly. Silence flowed in the elevator. I swallowed. "Evan, we agreed on tonight. Just give me a few minutes. I'll be quick." Suddenly, a big hand pinched my neck, pushing me against the wall. The cold wall made me shiver. A warm breath scattered. "Why did you come back?" He was tall enough to block the elevator's light, just enough to envelop me in shadow, creating a sense of oppression. I grabbed his wrist, afraid of being seen, speaking quickly. "I want to get my year-end bonus. I want to make money." Make money? Evan seemed to find something amusing, his hands trembling. "Do you need money? Is Tanner Hill so pathetic that you have to beg your high school classmates in the middle of the night?" I fell silent for a moment. "This is my private matter, none of your business." "Is it?" He took out a bank card from his pocket and handed it to me. "Kira Dapp, beg me. Yuri drunk." Evan continued. "Is this money not enough? I also have property deeds. How many do you want? All of them?" Seeing me not speaking, Evan suddenly unbuttoned his shirt collar. "Or do you want me? As long as you beg me, I'll give you everything." The phone rang at an inappropriate time. I was about to reach for my phone when Evan snatched it away. He narrowed his eyes, seeing Tanner Hill's name, as if struck by something. He pressed the answer button, then suddenly lowered his head and kissed me. The smell of alcohol filled my mouth. I was shocked, struggling violently. Evan used force, holding my face, his hot body temperature transferred to my palm without missing a beat through his chest. His heart was beating fast. "Evan Murray, you're crazy." He smudged my lipstick, wrinkled my skirt, his eyes flashing with crazy desire. In a low, hoarse voice, Kira, divorce him. Be with me. I will really treat you and the child well. I swear." I broke free from his grip, breathless. I'm single." Before I could finish my sentence, I was engulfed in a storm of passionate kisses once again. The person I had secretly loved for many years suddenly used all his tricks to seduce me after many years. It was really hard to resist. That night, I dreamed of my youth again. I grabbed the young man in a white shirt and said with a smile, "Hey, Evan, after the game, let's go watch a movie together." Evan pursed his lips, a hint of pink appearing on his ears, his tone cold. "The teacher doesn't allow male and female students to get too close. It's just a movie, really. Trust me." At that time, Kira Depp had excellent grades, competent and charming. When she liked someone, she dared to show her feelings openly. That day, I kissed Evan Murray in the movie theater, just like Evan kissed me tonight. The frozen heart I had long ago had been burnt into a boiling pot of water, constantly churning, clashing, a sleepless night. When I woke up, a half piece of stubborn leaf outside the window made a sound against the glass. Evan was no longer there. I felt a bit dazed. Wrapping myself in a blanket, I sat blankly in front of the sofa. It took me a while to remember what happened last night. He called me high-achieving student more than once, calling my name, but I lied to him. I slowly covered my face. If he knew that I didn't go to college, but dropped out of high school, would he still like me?